Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Have you always wanted to control anything within inside of your simulator, but maybe you don't have an encoder, or maybe you've only got one encoder and it's a real drag trying to figure out how to use that one encoder with multiple items? Stick around guys, because I'm going to show you how to turn your mobile device or touchscreen into a controller for your encoder. You're going to want to watch this one, I promise. Stick around. One app designed to do it all. Hangar Control brings everything together. Control bindings, hardware configuration, mod and profile management, application launching, add-ons, config files, and more, all managed from a single application. Mods Hangar goes beyond just mods and add-ons. It manages profiles, config files, text files, backups, snapshots, and helps keep your community folders clean and organized. Application Hangar launches your entire sim stack with a single click. Your Stream Decks are fully controlled through the Hangar Control plugin, while all of your other Stream Deck plugins remain active and available. Built by a simmer for simmers, Hangar Control adds new features and hardware support every week based on community feedback. It's a one-time purchase with lifetime updates, no subscriptions. You can try it for free for 5 days with no restrictions at overkillsimulations.com. Just create an account, head to your account page, download the latest version, and get started. And if you're looking for in-depth Microsoft Flight Simulator aircraft tutorials, check out my Patreon site. Links to Hangar Control and Patreon are down in the description below. Okay folks, so real quick, if you guys are interested in trying out Hangar Control, which this is going to be required obviously in order to do this, go to overkillsimulations.com. Make sure you create your account first, whether you plan on just purchasing it outright or doing a 5-day free trial. You need to make sure you create that account first or you will get an error either way. If you want to start the trial, as long as you're logged in, you'll have the ability to download the software. If you want to purchase it, you can purchase it at that point as well, but you must be logged into the website. That one still comes up a little bit, so I wanted to throw that out there. Okay, so now let's talk about what we're doing here today. The touch panel has been my sort of pride and joy lately, if you will, especially with the integration now from the fantastic application called GlassOut from Flying Art. If you guys have not tried GlassOut, and if you are aware of the pop-out panel manager, okay, if that rings a bell to you, GlassOut, and as fantastic, I want to make this very clear, as fantastic as pop-out panel manager is, GlassOut is significantly better. Much easier to use, much more powerful. You can use it with any mobile device or local device, it doesn't matter. Just an absolutely amazing application, okay? And again, to pop-out manager developer, I believe it's still free, guys, so still a amazing tool. But in my opinion, it has come to the point where this one is now superior. So you do have to have GlassOut if you want the display to show up on your touch panel or mobile device when working with Hangar Control. But at the moment, this is the only thing you have to do. You just have to have it started, and then we're going to get it out of the way. So then we're going to come over here, we make sure our service is started, and we're going to go to our touch panel. Okay, and we're going to be bouncing around a little bit, so stay with me. So this is a touch panel that I have created. We're going to create a new one. We're going to just add a touch panel, and we're just going to already attach it to the current profile. There we go. Oh, there it goes. Well, it's not refreshing, so I guess we'll have to change that. Let me make sure that is truly doing what it's supposed to. It did. Good. All right, so you just have to exit and it shows. Oh, it's disabled. Helps when you look at the right thing, Michael. All right, let's go to enabled, although it's still doing that. There. Stop it. I'm going to have to work on some refreshes here, don't I? Now let's make this screen a little bit bigger for everyone. We're going to need that side panel in the view. So let me make sure everything works, and then you can hold control and use your mouse wheel and it will zoom it in. Now let the games begin. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to create that PFD background, right? The primary flight display. And we are using the G1000 as our example, but I want to stress that this works with anything, because I also want to show you something cool about the G1000 that we just added. So we're going to go to add web view. We're just going to double click that, and we're going to come up here to where it says GlassOut, and you want to connect. As long as you are running your touch panel that is physically connected to your PC, whether it's via a USB hub or directly plugged into the back of the box, you can leave the IP address as that. If you are using this on a mobile device or a laptop or a Chromebook or whatever, you want to have the physical address of your computer. So in my case, mine is 192.168.0. 0.245. Okay, because you're going to need that. And obviously your mobile device, Chromebook, whatever it may be, tablet, doesn't matter. It obviously needs to be attached to the same wireless network as your computer. So we're going to hit connect, and boom, look, we already see what we have because we're in the Cessna 172. And so we want the PFD. So we're going to select that. I'm going to hit use panel, and that's it. I'm going to hit save. And then what I'm going to come do with this one is I'm going to right click. For today's simplicity, we're just going to go fit to canvas. And actually, no, I'm not. I'm sorry, I lied to you. We're going to bring that in just a little bit. Okay. And then I'm going to add another layer because I want an overlay. Actually, I guess I don't need to do that. We can probably click out in here, and we're going to go add gauge. And if you come down, there is now a G1000 PFD MFD. Click and save. And there it is. Now, this part, you guys can see, I am fighting with the software. I cannot figure out how to make this fully transparent to where I can see everything behind it. So there is a way around that. What I did do, and oddly enough was easier to figure out, which still blows me away, is if you go open window, it will open a local window. Don't worry about this handlebar. This is part of Visual Studios. You guys will not see this handlebar when you get there. However, when you do mouse up, you'll get the maximize and close window if you want. But what's nice about this is this is going to be a little bit harder to show. I'm trying to figure out how to do this. Okay, so yeah, watch. Oh, nope, you're not going to be able to see that. Got to figure out how to do this for you. That should work. You guys should still see enough there. So just sort of watch the G1000 up in the top right corner, okay, up in here. So as I click on the G1000 panel, okay, you can now use the panel to update, and it makes that process a bit easier to figure out. But what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go to fit to canvas, so that way that maximizes. And I'm going to take my configurator actually and move it off the screen. Oop, that's OBS. I don't want that. We're going to make this guy bigger for you guys. Okay. And then what I'm going to be using is these sliders, okay, to adjust. This is your position, X position, which is the horizontal, Y position, which is your vertical, and your width and your height, okay? So I'm just going to adjust those until we get a nice panel fit. And you guys will see what I'm doing here in just a minute. But I'm going to click on, that's why I wanted two different layers. I just realized what I wanted. So actually, let me show you guys that. I'm sorry, I'm sort of all over the place today. It's been an interesting day. We are going to get rid of that. I am going to add a layer, because I'm going to show you why. And then I'm going to add the gauge. Okay. And where are you? G1000. Save. Okay. And then we're going to do a fit to canvas, just like that. And then what we're actually going to do is I'm going to take this layer 2 and I'm going to move it up. So that way this one's on top. I'm going to make sure my default layer is highlighted. Highlight the web view here that we have. And then using those sliders that I was telling you about, you see you get a live positioning when you move the sliders. Okay, mouse dragging doesn't work until after you've let go, but if you use the sliders, you get your instant action. So let's get this set up here. We're going to bring that width way down. It's pretty far over, right? We're going to move this here. So we can see that it's subtracting from the right side. Same thing with the top. Let's adjust our height. So it's pulling from the bottom, so I'm going to make it so the bottom is lined up. And then I'm going to address the top positioning. So we're going to set it all the way up to the top, right about where I want it, okay? And then I'm going to increase the height. So it comes down to where I want that. Then we're going to increase the width, because it's going to go to the right. Okay. And then what we can do is I'm now going to take this, the top layer, and I'm going to bring it back up. Okay. And this is now what we are left with on our panel. So it could use some tweaking, but you guys get the gist. Now the cool thing, the bigger parts I want to show you, we could tweak the top down a little bit, but I want to show you guys the meat and potatoes of why we're here, right? So the cool part is that by default, the G1000 is basically already configured for you. So I'm going to show you how we're going to do this. Let's say we want to adjust our nav frequencies here. Okay, I'm going to click on the outer ring, and then anywhere inside the screen, anywhere inside your touch screen, I'm going to drag. And you can see we're adjusting the whole numbers there. If I click the inner encoder, there's the fractal. Your swap works, okay? The one thing I still have to figure out, I have to adjust some code. It does swap the radio like it's supposed to when you center push, but the frequency is still only adjusting the fractal. So that might be a bug that I have to work through, but I don't think I'm going to let that hold up the release. Okay, so we can still click back up there. And the nice thing is, when we're all done, it'll be complete, right? Same thing with your heading. So we click on the heading, right? And again, anywhere in the screen until you deselect it. All of your autopilot functions are working. All of your soft keys are working. Okay, so 4, 3, 3, 4. Okay, and we want it turned on, right? All of the soft keys are working. Same thing with your flight plans. The encoders down here, I have to do a little bit of work on. They are being sort of difficult, but we'll address that later. Okay, like for example, these are backwards. Okay, it should be the outer encoder that adjusts the value. Okay, so anyway, just some cool stuff I wanted to show you. This video isn't about the G1000 per se, but I wanted to show you that was here. And I want to thank one of our community members. You know who you are. Thank you very much for supplying the start to this. I made some adjustments to the G1000, gave it a bit more depth, but we have our own G1000 PFD. Now, let's talk about the cool part. Let's close that. The real reason we're here. Would you stop it? Thank you. Let's go back to our touch panel config view. So I'm going to get that out of the way. I'm going to bring you down. And now let's talk about the touch zone or target zones. So I'm going to create a new layer. Now, I'm creating a new layer because of what we've done here. I can also hide a layer, by the way, if you guys want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be using, for example, my Bravo throttle quadrant, which you guys have seen everything we've done with this touch panel from the start. Right now, the encoder on my Bravo throttle quadrant is configured to adjust our target altitude. So when I turn that encoder, you can see my altitude is increasing, okay? Now, what if I want that same encoder to, say, control the heading? But I don't want to create a whole bunch of conditions and flags and things like that. Or maybe I want it to control my baro. I'm going to show you guys how to do that. And you can use your touch panel. You can use, and by the way, you guys can see for your demo purposes, I'm using a mouse and keyboard. Okay, so really the options are endless here. You can use your cell phone, mobile device, and you don't even have to have a panel like this. I just want to make this clear for a second. You can create a whole bunch of touch panel buttons that just say heading, altitude, barometer, whatever. You know, whatever you want to do, and that when you tap these zones, this one encoder will control everything. This works for any encoder or button. Let's get into it. So I'm going to get that out of the way. Let's bring our configurator back in. Okay, are we nice and big there? I want to try to take up as much of the screen here as possible. Okay, I'm going to need that right side. There we go. Okay, so here's what we're going to do now. I do recommend having a separate layer for this. Okay, so we're going to go back to our layer 3 that I just created. And as long as you're on layer 3, you know, we can click anywhere and it's not going to move anything else beneath it. So I'm going to right click and I'm going to add a target zone. And I can put this target zone wherever I want. Okay, so in our case, I'm going to drop it right about here so that way I touch the heading knob, right? And you can also rotate it, okay, if you want to, if you're trying to like kick like an angle or something like that. And now we're going to come up here and add action. Direction press, I actually want it direction clockwise, okay? And we're going to go command, and you can actually do press. Press should work just fine for this particular, because we're technically using a button. I'm going to show you why. Now right now, in its first release, this will only be configured at the moment, likely for SimConnect. We'll see. We'll see how fast I can get this. But we're going to go heading. And I'm sorry for being all over the place. I'm excited that I got this working. It's working really well. And we're going to set that. Okay, so it's heading bug increase. Now, what device? You have all the devices that are attached to your current profile. In my case, it's the Bravo throttle quadrant. And the encoder clockwise should be 13. So there it goes. And let's add another action. We obviously got to be able to go the other direction. Command. And let's do heading bug decrease. And that's going to be 14. And that should be it. Okay, so now we're going to hit save. Now check this out. Here's what you see. And I am going to make the ability, you guys are going to see it, but I am going to make the ability to hide the overlay. Let's see, where, that's the designer. I don't want the designer. There, you guys can see it right there, okay? That orange line. If I, right now, when I turn my encoder, notice the altitude target's changing, okay? But if I click in that field, now we're adjusting our heading bug. Okay? Check off of it. Back to the altitude. So you can put these things all over the place and it will control that. So let's do one more. Let's do our barometric pressure. So we're going to bring that back down. Let's create a new target zone. And obviously you can name them whatever you want. They don't have to be named target zone, right? And you just change the name right there. You can also change the shape to a circle. And we're going to just keep that as is. And by the way, if we do change these to clockwise and counterclockwise and hit save real quick, let me show you. That should then notice the encoder is behaving much more like an encoder now. Okay? So, anyway, sorry. I just wanted to show you guys that. Let's go back to this target zone. And we're going to, I'm just going to leave it as is. And this is going to be Colesman. Oops! Colesman increase. Input. Still going to be the Bravo. Still going to be 13. We're going to add action. And we're going to do command again. Colesman decrease. And what did we determine? It was 14, right? And save. So again, coming back up here, we now have two target zones. There's our altitude going. Barometric pressure. Altitude. Heading. Altitude. Barometric pressure. Tell me that is not cool as hell. And the thing is that you guys saw that this is technically triggering this as a button press. So you could use an actual button on any of your flight controls, okay, to do all of the same stuff. And you can make these target zones anywhere you want. You can use this for your flaps. You can use them for your gear. Anything you want. You can have one button essentially do whatever you want as long as you have your touch screen, or in my case, keyboard and mouse, but I don't know that I would recommend that for this particular build. And you can make them do whatever you guys want. And again, by the time that you guys see this, so this will probably be another day or so before this is released, but the really cool thing about this is that, you know, you'll be able to hide all of these zones to where you just click it. Now, I'm going to have it set so that way when a target zone is active, the beer I don't even drink the bar appears, you know, the outline appears, and then when you deselect it, it goes back to a blank screen. Right now these are, you know, these were here for obviously my testing purposes, so still got a couple more features to add, but those are small. But anyway, I thought this was super cool. I think it's going to open up the doors to a lot of people, really create a lot of different options that you're going to be able to do now with your controls without spending $4,000 on 100,000 different items, right? So I hope you guys liked it. If you guys are interested in supporting my work, please consider trying out Hangar Control. Consider supporting me on Patreon. And of course, at the very least, join the Discord. A link to it is down in the description. All of my videos. Come hang out, come chat, come see what the new hype is as it starts to develop. And again, this should be released within the next 24 to 48 hours tops. Obviously, I have a couple more tests tests to run and a bit of fine tuning to do, but it is working. It is cool, and I'm really stoked about this. So I hope you guys are too. As always, folks, stay safe and healthy. I'll see you in the next one.